I thought that a new beginning has to be something that is planned or something that has been discussed prior. But later in life, I realized that that's not necessarily true. I realized that a new beginning can occur out of something that maybe hasn't even been discussed before or hasn't been even thought about. I'm an athlete and I go to gymnastics practice over 12 hours a week. Now, you may expect me to think that an injury would be something normal or something that I might be used to. But this specific injury was one that actually shaped my life so differently to the point where I now look at experiences in a completely different way. When I was 14 years old, I actually was at gymnastics practice. It was a normal day, and I was just doing exactly what I do every other day, and I fell and unfortunately fractured my foot. Now, this was, I think, my first injury during practice, and I was extremely heartbroken because that meant that I couldn't compete in this competition, the seasonal competition. But it was okay because after I went to the doctor, I realized that it was just a minor fracture and I just had to be in a cast for 3 weeks maximum. So during those 3 weeks, I lived my life as normal as I could. I did exactly what I could with a broken leg, but then I was going down the stairs one day and I tripped and I fractured my other foot, or what I thought was a fracture. I was completely heartbroken at the time because I thought to myself that I would not be able to walk for so long and I would not be able to do anything that I had planned. I had so many school events that I was extremely devastated that I couldn't attend anymore. After I fell, my mom quickly rushed me to the hospital and took me to the emergency room. And we found out that this foot injury was way worse than the first one. I actually had to be in a boot for 2 months and 0 physical activity could be done with my foot. And now, at the time, if you were to ask me how I felt, I would have told you that this was one of the worst things that could ever happen to me in my life, and it was literally like a pause in my life. And I'm not the type of person who would take breaks, and I'm not the type of person who would like to take a break every now and then, although it might be needed, but I like being busy and I like staying busy. And so, looking back, it was honestly a life-changing experience. Now when I look back at it, I think of it as a positive moment rather than a negative one, because I've realized that after having gone through that, I realized how truly blessed I am. I'm able to walk on 2 feet every single day without even having to think about it. This experience taught me to be extremely grateful for what I have, because I might not know what the circumstance with other people is. And at the time, I remember thinking to myself that my life was basically ending. And I spoke to my mom, and she told me that what if this is a sign that you might need a break? After going through this experience, I realized that it has actually granted me a new beginning without me actually anticipating it. So because of this experience, I actually started to look at life in a completely different way. I started to see what I may have thought are negative experiences as positive ones. And thankfully, I'm extremely grateful for the experience that I have went through, because these past few months were unlike any other, but because of this experience, I was able to actually view them in a positive light, and I was able to actually use the time to reflect and spend time on myself. Without this experience, I wouldn't be able to be the person that I am today, and that's why a new beginning is extremely important, especially when you're not anticipating it. It is very common for us to feel like going through a hard challenge or a hindrance in our life is the end of our life, or we may never actually get through it and become stronger, or even become the person that we still are. But thankfully, after going through this experience, I realized that that is not true at all. Even if it might be the hardest thing you might ever have to face in your entire life, you are going to get through it 100%, and that's what I have done, and that's what I realized. And because a new beginning is something that you do not anticipate, it makes it so much better, because that's when you actually know that you are strong enough to go through it, even though you're not mentally or even physically prepared to go through it.